Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana lihada wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadanallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahu bi ihsan ila yaumiddin, amma ba'du. Hello student, meet you again. Our subject today is about planning and technique. It is about planning, tool, and technique. We're talking about tool and technique that manager use in planning. This is our learning outline. The technique for assessing environment. This is the first subject, technique for assessing the environment. And then the specialty, we will discuss about the competitor intelligence. What is the competitor intelligence? And then how manager improve effectiveness of forecasting, the importance of forecasting. And then the benchmarking process, how we do that. And then technique for allocating resources. Do you know allocating resources? And then describe different type of budget, talking about budget, and explain you specialty in the famous tool. I think you know about this, the Gantt chart and the low chart. For opinion, we will discuss about the PERT network analysis. The PERT network analysis, and then how we compute the break-even point analysis. How we compute the break-even point, and then describe how manager can use linear programming. We're talking about the linear programming in the simple example, I think. And then contemporary planning technique, project management, and etc. Firstly, we will talk assessing the environment. Firstly, we will talking about the assessing the environment. In environmental scanning, the scanning of large amount of information, that is about the information to anticipate and interpret change in environment. So it's talking about information. In this chapter, we just talking about large amount, not quality. And then we make a screening. To get the accurate information, because the information is interesting. Why? Because the manager have to anticipate and interpret change. So it is interesting to know the information and the accurate information. It is very important. Okay. And then the competitor intelligence. What is the competitor intelligence? It is the intelligence that is the process gathering information. That is the intelligence. Process of gathering information to the competitor. So we have to know who are they, what they are doing. It is not spying, but rather careful attention. Yes. You know about the intelligence. It always talking about spying. But this is not spying. This is the careful attention to readily accessible information from employee, customer, supplier, the internet, and competitor themselves. This is the environment. Yes, this is the environment of organization or our company. Okay. May involve reverse engineering of competing product to discover technical innovation. Maybe we have to reverse engineering to get in product of the competitor. Right? We're talking about environmental scanning. How we do the environmental scanning? Firstly, we have to global scanning. We have to screen a broad scope of information on global forces that might affect the organization. Broad scope. Broad scope of information that affect to the organization. Has value to firm with significant global interest, draw information from sources that provide global perspective and web issues and opportunities. He's talking about the global information. Information from the global world for the worldwide issues and opportunities. The focus here. Worldwide issues and opportunities. That is the global scanning in environmental scanning. So we firstly do the global, not in detail, okay? And the interesting part in assessing the information, we have to do the forecasting. Forecasting, the part of organizational planning that involves creating prediction. In forecasting, we have to creating prediction of outcome based on information gathered by environmental scanning. So we make the prediction based on information gathered by environmental scanning. Because the prediction is useful for manager, for example, for decision making. But in another part, the forecasting is not accurate when the environment is dynamic. And we can say that forecasting is most accurate in stable environment. In stable environment, this is accurate. But in dynamic environment, we cannot use forecasting or prediction. Okay. What is the technique to forecasting? There are two techniques here. That is the quantitative forecasting. The quantitative forecasting and the qualitative forecasting. In quantitative forecasting, we use mathematical rule or model. We use the mathematical rule or model, and we have to collect the data to predict the outcome. But in the qualitative forecasting, we based on our forecasting to opinion from expert. The opinion of expert. To predict less than precise outcome. Okay, collaborative planning, forecasting, and replacement. We can use the software. Yes, in modern management, we always use software. There are many software or many tools to help us making prediction, to simulate our organization when we do anything, when we decide something. So we can use the software that relevant to our topic. That is the example about the quantitative forecasting. We use time series analysis, regression, econometric, and substitution effect. And then in qualitative, we use sales force sales force composition, or customer evaluation. And then we have to jury of many opinion from a many manager. Okay, that is the forecasting technique. How we make forecasting more effective? Firstly, we have to use the simple forecasting method. Use the simple. Don't use the complex method. Use simple forecasting method, and then simple forecasting. And then compare its forecast with its corresponding no change forecasting. Compare. Don't rely on single forecasting method. Don't only use single forecasting method. Simple but not single. Don't assume that the turning point in a trend can be accurately identified. Don't assume that the turning point in a trend can be accurately identified. It can be seen that the trend cannot identified by accurately. Okay. Shorten the time period covered by forecast. Yes, the forecast mostly accurate for shorten the time period. Remember that forecasting is a developed managerial skill that support decision making. So in accuracy in making forecasting, that is the managerial skill, and that can support the decision making of the manager. Okay. We're talking about benchmarking again. The search, what is the benchmarking? The search for best practices among competitor and non-competitor, competitor and non-competitor. But we set the best practice, the best practice that lead to their superior performance. By analyzing and copying this practice, this is the goal of the benchmarking. To copying this practice can improve their performance. We have to analyze and copy they're the best practice. Okay. Specialty in allocating resources, we have to know the types of resources in organization. What are the type of resources in organization? We know about the asset of organization. There are 4 main assets in organization. Firstly, that is the financial asset. Debt, equity, and earning. That is the financial asset. And then secondly is the physical asset. That is building, equipment, and material, raw material. And then the thirdly, that is the human asset. Experience, skill, knowledge, and competency. And then finally, we have to know about the intangible asset. What is the intangible asset? It can be brand names, patent, and then reputation, trademark, copyright, and the database. Database is intangible asset. Do you know about the Facebook? What is the most interesting asset of this company? That is the database. The database of their customer. That is the asset. Okay. Another type of allocating resources is budgeting. What about the budget? What is the budget? Budget is numerical plan. The budget is numerical plan. Revenue, expenses, and capital expenditures is stated in the budget. Are used to improve time, space, and use of material resources to improve. This is budget. Are the most commonly used and most widely applicable planning technique for organization? Yes. Most commonly used. Every organization have the budget. Do you agree with this statement? It must be. Every organization have to make budget. Okay. What types of budget? What types of budget? We have 4 here type of budget. Cash budget, the cash budget, forecast cash on hand, to predict the cash on hand and how much will be needed, and to predict the needed cash. And then the revenue budget. Revenue budget is sales future project. Income is talking about the income of organization. And then the expense budget, list primary activities and allocate dollar amount to each that we have to expand in primary activities, to very useful activities. And then the profit budget, combine revenue to expense will make the profit. Okay, that is the type of budget. How we can improve our budgeting? Collaborate and communicate. It must be flexible. Then goals should drive budget. Budget should not determine goal. So budget is not everything, but everything need budget. We can say that. Budget is not everything, but everything need budget. Coordinate budgeting through the organization. So the budget is not cool. The budget is not good. Budget is tool, not good. Coordinate. We have to coordinate budgeting. Coordinate budgeting through the organization. Use budgeting planning software, maybe if we have. And then remember that the budget is tool, not goal. Okay, the budget is tool, not goal. So it must be flexible. So when we make you question why the budget must be flexible, because the budget is tool, not goal. So it must be flexible. When the budget is goal, it must be strictly not flexible, I think. Remember that the profit result from smart management, not because you budgeted for them, not because you budgeted. Profit is not because you budgeted. So budget is the tool. Everything needs budget, but budget is not everything. And then we have type of allocating resources, that is the schedule. Schedule is plan that allocate resource by detailing what activities, which they are to be complete, and who and when. So planning, schedule, I think, not planning. The schedule is detail, talking about what, talking about which, talking about who, and talking about when to be completed. So it have to represent the coordination of various activities. They need coordination, meeting, evaluation, and everything to make schedule. And then we have used two tools in allocating resources that is very interesting and very famous. That is the Gantt chart and the load chart. In the Gantt chart, the bar with time, bar graph with time on horizontal is time, and activities in vertical. So that is time versus activities. What for this Gantt chart? Shows the expected and actual progress. So that is the goal of the Gantt chart, to show expected and actual progress of various tasks. Expected and actual. How about the load chart? Load chart, a modified Gantt chart that lists entire department or specific resources on the vertical axis. So that is a modified of Gantt chart in specific resources in vertical. In horizontal is same in the Gantt chart. That is the time. But in vertical, in Gantt chart is the activities, but in the load chart, the specific resource. That is the difference of Gantt chart and load chart. In Gantt chart, in vertical is activities. In load chart, in vertical is specific resources. So using load chart, manager can plan and control capacity utilization. To control capacity utilization, the manager have to use the load chart, not Gantt chart. Okay, Gantt chart just to show the expected and actual progress of the varying tasks or varying activity. That is the Gantt chart. You know about this. Time schedule. I think you always use statement about a time schedule. Yes, that is the Gantt chart. In horizontal is time, and in vertical is activity. And then we know the progress, the goal, and the actual. That is the actual. The blue part is actual, and the red part is the goal. So from this chart, we know about completion of every activities. And we need this, the load chart. In load chart, the horizontal is similar to Gantt chart. That is the time. That is the time. In horizontal is time. But in vertical is spatial resource. For example, here is editor, the spatial resource. And from here, we know the load of every resource. So we can design the salary, we can design the bonus and everything. Because we know the load chart, we know the load everybody, every resource in our organization. Okay. How we analyze this, how we make analysis in allocating resources? We can use program evaluation and review technique. PERT, the program evaluation and review technique. That is the flow chart diagram. That depict the sequence of activities. Load chart diagram That is the flow chart diagram. Sequence activities like the project. With its activities, we have the time and costs associated. In this method, we will know about we will introduce you in many terms. That is the event. Event is endpoint for compression. Event, and then the activities. Activities is time required for its activity, and then the slack time. The slack time is the time that the complete activities wait for another activity to finish. Time that completed activities wait. Time for wait. This is time for wait. Wait another activities to finish, so that the next activities, which depends on the completion of both activities, can start. And then the critical part. The critical part, the part ordering of activities that allows all tasks to be completed with the least slack time. That is the critical part. How we develop the PRT network? Firstly, we have to identify every significant activity that must be achieved for a project to be completed. And then second, determine the order in which this event must be completed. Identify activity, determine order, and then diagram the flow. Start to finish, from start to finish, identifying its activity and its relationship to all other activities, and then compute time estimate for completing its activities, and then using the network diagram that contain time estimated for its activities, determine a schedule for the start and finish date and its activities and for the entire project. And then we can predict the time for entire project. That is the step in developing PRT network. For example, here we have activities in constructing an office building. What activities in constructing an office building? In order, these activities is ordered. The event A, for example, the event A, in the first activities, we have to improve design and get permit. Approve design and permit. The expected time is 10 weeks and preceding event is known, so this is the starting, because the preceding event, the event before this is known, so this is the starting point. When we have approved design and permit, then subtrend garage, erect frame, construct floor, install windows, put on roof, install internal wiring, install elevator, put in floor covering and paneling, put in doors and interior decorative trim, and then turn over to building management group. And that is the activity reviews. That mean is proceeding event. That mean is if you want to do the activity B, you have to completing the activity A. That's mean of preceding event. When you will do the activity D, you have to complete it, the activity C before. You have to complete the activity C, then you can starting during activity T. That's mean of preceding event. And then we diagram in flow diagram like this, from start, and then activity A, and then from start, and then activity A, and then activity B, and then activity C, and then in parallel we do the activity GEF, and then we have to activity T when the TEF is completed, and then to activity H, and in another part we do activity I, and then we can do activity J when the activity here and here is completed. You can see this 4 week and 3 week, that is the 7. 5 week and 3, that is the 8 week. So the part of G, H, J, 8 week, and the part of T, I, J is 7 week. We cannot do the activity K when the first part and the second part is not completed together. So we have the different time here, 8, and we have the different time here, 8 and 7. So we have 1 week of lag time. That is the mean of lag time, because the part of activity GIG will waiting for activity GHJ completed before do the activity K. So the activity DIJ have 1 week lag time. And then next, in allocating resources analysis, we can use break-even analysis. Break-even analysis. Break-even analysis is we find the break-even point. In break-even analysis is used to determine the point which all fixed costs recover by profit. So that is the point. All fixed costs recover by profit. So we have to compute the fixed costs, and we have to compute the variable costs and the total fixed costs, and then the price. It must be have the price, yeah. And we can calculate the break-even formula. The total fixed costs divided by unit price minus unit variable cost. What does it mean about unit price minus unit variable cost? What does it mean this? What does it mean? That is the profit of unit. Yeah. So the break-even is fixed cost divided by profit. Fixed cost divided by profit of unit. So when we use the unit here, the unit of the break-even, it must be unit sales. Okay. And we can plot that data in the chart, in the graph like this. In the horizontal, we have the point here, output, a unit in 1000, that is the unit, product. That is the unique product. And in vertical, that is the revenue or cost. Revenue or cost. In vertical, we have the revenue or cost. Revenue or cost. In vertical. In horizontal, the unit. What is the where the breakeven point? That is the breakeven point. When the variable cost, the red line is variable cost, and the blue line is the total cost. Oh no, that's wrong. The red line is revenue, and then blue line is cost, not variable, cost, total cost. That is the fixed cost, that is the variable cost. So that is the total cost. When total cost can be recovered by unit profit, that is the break-even point. So this is the profit area, and this is the loss area. Why this is the loss area? Because this is our revenue, but the cost is higher than our revenue. The cost is higher than our revenue. In this here, the revenue is higher than our cost. So this is the profit area. In this here is loss area. It is simple, so simple about break-even analysis. Another analysis tool to allocating resources that famous tool is the linear programming. What is the linear programming? For optimization, I think the linear programming is a technique seek to solve resource allocation. To solve what? Problem in resource allocation using the proportional relationship between two variables. That is the definition, and I can show you the illustration using the example. This is the example. We have the production data for cinnamon scented product. We have a number of hours required per unit, and there are 3 departments here. That is the resource. There are 3 departments. Our resource is 3 departments: manufacturing, assembly. Two departments, not 3. Okay, I'm sorry, that's wrong. The department is 2: manufacturing and assembling. And the product is 2: bag and candle. And this is the data. This is the data. We have this data. And this too. We have this data. To produce bag, we need 2 hours. A manufacturing department need 2 hours to produce bag. Manufacturing department need 4 hours to produce candles. Assembly need 2 hours to produce bag, and assembly need 2 hours to produce candle. And the capacity term, monthly production capacity in manufacturing is 1,200, and in assembly is 900. So this is the capacity. How we can use this capacity to get the profit maximum? How we can use? We know about this. There are 4 hours to produce bag, even in manufacturing and assembly. But we need the 6 hours to produce candles, even in manufacturing and assembly. But in the other hand, the candles give $18 as a profit per unit, higher than the bag. Need more time but give more profit. So that is the problem. How we can produce, how much we produce bags, and how many we produce bag and candles to get the maximum profit, because we have this capacity. That is the problem in linear programming. Okay, and in linear programming we use the graphical solution. The graphical solution to linear programming problem. In here, in the two problem, we model in the two line here. The two problem is modeled in the two line, and from the two line we have the region fashionable region, the solution region here, and then we can identify the maximum assembly is this point, maximum manufacturing is this point. What does it mean about the maximum assembly and maximum manufacturing? We can see this in the point T is we just only produce the bag and 0 candle. So all of our capacity to produce bag. So we got this point. To produce bag, all our manufacturing capacity is get this point. So do this, similar this point. We just produce the candle and 0 pack. So pack is in the point here, 0. And this is 300 candle and 450 candle maximum assembly. How we complete this? You can see this. When we produce the candle only, the manufacturing is 1,200. To produce all our capacity to produce the candle, just we can produce how many candle? Because we have that capacity. The capacity 1,200 divide by 4 hours, so we can produce 300 candles. Manufacturing, when we use all capacity of our manufacturing just only to produce candle, we got to 300, and that is the representation in this point. When we produce the candle, we got the 300 candles for manufacturing department, similar to the assembly. Okay, you can do this by yourself. Okay, and we got the maximum profit here in point C. How we know this is the maximum? You can just try to calculate this point to the profit formula. $10 times by bag plus $18 times by candle. That is the point, the profit formula. So in this point is maximum. You can prove it. Calculate by yourself. Okay. Prove that the C is the maximum formula. Maybe this is the task for our lecture, our lecture in this week, to prove this, that the C is the maximum formula, maximum profit. Okay, thank you for attention here, And then contemporary planning technique. Yeah, we have the project and project management. That is the another topic in planning. We're talking about the project. Project is one time only set of activities, one time only. Define beginning and end point. Project management, define project goal, identify all required activities, the goal, activities, material, labor, and determine the sequence. That is the project management. This is the graphical project management process, project planning process. And then we can use the term in general planning, the scenario planning, and contingency planning in project management. Okay, I think that's all for our lecture this week or today. Thank you for attention. Meet you again the next week in the next topic, in the next subject. Thank you very much.